Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Hope that you all are doing well. I know for some of us, we know it's exam period, but do encourage your friends, those persons who are normally part of this session, do encourage them to join. But of course, if they're not able to join, maybe because they have the exam tomorrow or whatever, it's going to be saved on our YouTube. So, without further ado, welcome. We're definitely happy to have you, and of course, looking forward to a great session where we're gonna find out a lot from this talented speaker, Matthew Stone. All right. So while I'm just getting my computer, go. Okay. Great. So for today's session, we'll be speaking with a very talented young individual, founder and president of Jamaican Artificial Intelligence Association. All right. So we're gonna do a little bit of housekeeping, some amount of activities that tells you a little bit about the community and what it is that we do. So we are the Jamaican developers community, and we're geared towards training developers to properly build and market solutions, and be that creative thinker that we know that we are. So we do know that we have a lot of skills and talents here, and we definitely want to encourage persons to market and build their skills. Definitely want to, of course, encourage collaboration. So, we've done a session before around, what it is that, how it is that we position ourselves for success. And part of that is, of course, sharing that knowledge. Because even with our car seats, the reality is one person actually came up with the idea, but he allowed all the different brands, the different car companies to use this idea so that we can, of course, have safe passengers being commuted throughout their day-to-day lives. So definitely sharing this knowledge, sharing the expertise, building the skills and marketing them, that's definitely something that we would want to be a part of. And of course, we also want to encourage help, provide help where it is possible, whether it is in person and online. And of course, we do have many various persons with varying degree, entrepreneurs, senior developers, QAs, so whichever area of computing that you are in, even animation, we do have persons of varying skill level and talent that are able to assist you, whether it is, changing your career, or perhaps understanding better what it is that is required of you, or maybe there's just this problem, this error message that you're trying to debug that you're not sure how to fix. So that's what we're here for, to provide support both online and in person. And I've said before, we're going to be encouraging the sharing of and learning of the different knowledge that is available. Okay, so there is a lot of problem, right? We definitely know that problems exist, and as our career encourages, we are problem solvers, right? And there's a problem that the Caribbean is facing, right? So developers can't necessarily be found so easily, right? And many of them don't sometimes don't have the right skills or the right expertise, or perhaps there's some you know lack of awareness that this opportunity exists. So in one of our sessions, I do recall us speaking to one of the animators in the industry, and it's such a very interesting phenomenon to see young talents creating products here locally. So the reality is there is sometimes a lack of an awareness that we want to definitely bridge the gap to to facilitate more collaboration, to facilitate persons being able to find jobs or find employees and so on. All right. So for today's agenda will be, of course, doing a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll be going into the presentation, and after which we'll be opening the floor to some discussion. So should you have any questions while Matthew is doing his presentation, please feel free to jot them down, and also, if possible, write them in the comments. And we do have our moderators on the YouTube as well, being able to get your comments in. So if it is that you're watching directly from YouTube and not necessarily in our Zoom session, don't worry, we'll be getting to your questions as well. And of course, we'll be doing some wrap up. So let's go into a little bit about Matthew Stone. So Matthew Stone is a visionary leader in AI and automation, and he's currently pursuing a PhD in artificial intelligence at the University of the West Indies. And if we've been following Matthew Stone on social media, we'll definitely know that he's been doing various presentations for at various corporate events, and he's very knowledgeable. And he's definitely one of those founding persons who are trying to encourage businesses to move towards automation to improve efficiency, and encouraging Jamaica to advance. So definitely want to keep an eye out for Matthew Stone. Right. So his research explores advanced AI applications across industries. As the founder of Jamaican Artificial Intelligence Association, he promotes AI development in Jamaica and globally. Matthew is also the CEO of Stone Technologies Limited, where he spearheads the use of automated drone technology in agriculture, transforming farming practices and food production. So the reality is, regardless of whatever sphere of um, you know technology or career that you're in, the reality is technology can improve that and essentially cause more efficiency, as said before, greater production, greater productivity. So we definitely want to hear more about Matthew Stone and his journey as he continues to just revolutionize the Jamaica industry as it relates to um, science and technology and the introduction of artificial intelligence. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over now to Matthew Stone. Matthew Stone?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Let me get my presentation. You guys see my presentation?
Yes, presentation is clear.
All right, thanks. All right, so welcome everyone. So my name is Matthew Stone. So I'll be mainly talking about a community I founded, the Jamaica Artificial Intelligence Association. So the term AI, it's a very popular term nowadays. It's kind of in the vernacular of everybody, man, woman, and child. A few years ago, that was not the case, actually. AI was sort of a term that was known, probably mostly in pop culture, like shows like Terminator and iRobot. But not a lot of people actually understood what it means because for whatever reason they didn't really understand how they were using it on a daily basis. Now with tools like ChatGPT, everybody knows that they're using AI. So it's a term that is well known. So, back in the day before AI became popular, I was always passionate about AI. I knew other people in Jamaica that had shared that similar interest, but I realized there wasn't a community, just a common place where people could come together, talk about AI, maybe even work on projects together. and possibly even share our knowledge with others. So today I'll just talk a little bit about my motivation for starting the JAIA. It won't be a long presentation. I'll just start by talking a little bit about myself, and then I'll go right into, why did I start the JAIA, some of the challenges, some of the projects that we're working on, some of the goals, and how you guys can join. All right, so just a little bit about myself. I've been working on projects, since I was a teenager. Started out making little simple video games or mobile apps that, you can play on your phone. So that's what kind of drew or got me into this passion for creating things or developing things. You could say my love for AI really developed in university. I got involved with robotics and, kind of fell in love with the idea of autonomous drone technology, which is really an autonomous flying robot. So I did several demos such presentations regarding autonomous drones, one such involving sort of like a security drone. So a drone paired with motion sensors and it would react to that. So that was pretty fun. So we had demoed something like that for Research Day at University of West Indies, which I'm currently doing a PhD. Um, this all kind of came together in 2020, um, or 2022, 2022, sorry. So that was the year of our 60th independence. Most of you probably have seen drone light show by now. If you've never seen it in person, it's a really beautiful sight to behold. But you've at least heard about it. So the first one was in 2022. So I was essentially it was my idea to kind of bring this drone light show here. So I was one of the main persons to get that done. So now it's kind of become sort of like a national staple. Every year, everybody wants to see a drone light show at the Grand Gala celebrations. Currently, the project that my company is working on, we're trying to essentially help to automate the harvesting of coconuts. It's not about taking jobs. Actually, there's a labor shortage right now in the coconut industry. So coconut farmers are finding it hard to find people to climb up coconut trees to pick coconuts. So we could face a situation where we can't get coconuts anymore simply because nobody can pick them. So we think we have an important mission here, trying to create what we think will be the first production-ready drone for picking coconuts. Um, yeah, so let me finish talking about me. Let me get right into the motivation for starting the Jamaica Artificial Intelligence Association. So as I said, this was around the pandemic period. I wanted a community of people interested in AI in Jamaica. I was always sort of pushing it, whether at say a club meeting or just giving a random talk or just, working on projects, I've always been sort of pushing AI, trying to teach as much people as possible about this AI thing. And I knew other people that were like super passionate about it as well, that were like very deep into it, but we didn't really have a common community. So really and truly, this started just as a simple WhatsApp group. Um, it's funny how, something that may seem big right now, can come from very small beginnings. It can be as small as literally a WhatsApp group and it can grow from there. Um, Also wanted a way to work on AI projects with others. Again, it's a lot easier when you have some structure. I found it difficult in the past because, people have their varying schedules. It's always hard to kind of get people, especially if they have their jobs, to work together on projects. So what the JAIA has allowed for is some structure to allow that to happen more easily. And also we didn't just want to be a WhatsApp group, we didn't just want to be a group that resides in Techland. We wanted to broaden our scope. So it's not just tech people. The JAI consists of people outside of tech, whether in finance, law. AI is impacting every industry, every sector. So I don't care if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you're in AI, because AI is impacting your industry in some way. So we wanted to have, well, I wanted to have some vehicle or some way to influence AI policy in some ways. Because, I had some ideas, other people that had ideas that we think is maybe the best way to push AI forward in Jamaica. And I'm glad to say we've definitely made some progress on that front, given that, we have a relationship with the minister and several of our advisory board members are actually a part of the Jamaica AI task force. So what was the main goals with starting the association? So first, and most important one is promoting awareness and understanding, right? A lot of people hear the term AI, but there's a lot of myths surrounding AI. Everybody thinks the first thing they think is, okay, AI is going to take my job, right? Um, is AI changing the job market? Of course, it's changing the job market. But honestly, I think it has changed it in a good way more than a bad way. It has changed the way we work. People are way more efficient now, right? Even for developers, we have all these tools that can literally just suggest code. Usually it would take like hours to solve a problem. Now you can go in ChatGPT and you can solve it in seconds. Even if you're not in tech, you could be a lawyer, doctor, writing up a report, sending an email, uh, creating a presentation. Nowadays, you can go in ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT what you want the presentation to be about, and just like that, you have it literally creates a PowerPoint file that you can download and you can edit if you want. So I like to view, instead of viewing AI as something replacing us, I love to view it as something that is extending us, right? So it's an extension of our mind, allowing us to sort of reach to a higher place. Also advancing research and innovation. There are a lot of smart people in the country, a lot of great ideas, but there isn't a lot of support for it, right? And I feel like there's some missed opportunity there. One of the reasons why I wanted to create the JAIA is to sort of provide a structure and hopefully funding for people that have these great ideas for research projects in the AI sector and wanted to realize it in some way. And I think that's a very important mission because that's really the only way for us as an island to really progress economically. We're going to have to invest more in research and innovation, especially in AI. Fostering collaboration and networking, right? As I said, come back to community, right? We're stronger when we work together, right? There were a lot of smart people here, there, all about the place in their own little silos. And we as Jamaicans kind of are guilty of that sometimes. We think we're the smartest thing and we kind of do our own thing. But I think the best thing is for everybody to come together, work together, because we're stronger that way. And I think that's one of the benefits of being part of a community, right? It allows you to essentially pool all of that mental energy, that mental capacity to actually create something great. Also, driving ethical and responsible AI. So it's not all about creating innovation. We want to create responsible innovation, ethical innovation. As we know, a lot of these AI tools have been created by companies that have no regard for ethics or responsible use of people's data. They just literally take data and they use it to make billions of dollars and no sort of remunerations or compensation is given back to the people who get this data from. One of the things we want to do as an association is to allow us as a country to own our data, right? We want people to earn from their data. So one of the things that we plan to do as JAIA is a massive data collection initiative where you can literally anybody can earn from their data. So whether it's text messages, voice notes, it could be even dash cam footage. You can literally get paid to get your data um, sent to us and labeled. Lastly, of course, promoting economic growth and development. We think AI is going to play a major part in driving economic growth in Jamaica. It has the opportunity to um, spur the development of new startups. Nowadays, back in the days, when you think, I'm going to create a startup, if you didn't have a certain amount of capital, you kind of had to take that out of your head because you had to pay developers who's going to create your website. There's a lot of different things that had to go into play. It costs a lot of money. Nowadays, literally one person can do all of that, right? Because you have literally AI tools that you can use to create a website. You have AI tools that you can use to create a pitch deck. So once people are aware of the technology, what's possible with the technology, a lot more can be done. So if instead of just thinking about, oh, this taking my job, actually think about, okay, what economic opportunity can I get from this technology? And if people are smart and are aware, actually there's a lot of economic opportunity that's possible from AI technology right now, especially in Jamaica. So of course, all of this comes with challenges. And when you're starting a community, there's a lot of challenges. One of the challenges even we're facing now is, things like lack of funding, right? You'll hear people say, hey, you guys should get funding here, or you guys should seek funding there. Of course, that's good advice and all, and you seek funding, but it's not as easy as it sounds, right? Especially in the early days, before people really believe in what you're doing, a lot of that funding may have to come from those early members. So, whoever started the community, a lot of that funding may have to come from those people until it's sort of gain enough popularity where maybe you can even get donations or funding from the government. But the truth is that people won't say is that it's an investment. So at the beginning, if you're starting a community, you're probably going to be the one funding most of it at the beginning. Coordinating with busy schedules, people have work. Some people end at 5, some people end at 6, 7. Everybody know after work, you come out of traffic, you're tired. Getting people to meet at a certain time. Most times it has to be at night. Some people are tired. Especially if you don't have, say, any money at the beginning to pay people, you kind of have to be going off of just pure motivation and hope that they, believe in the vision enough that they can spare some, because time is precious, that they can spare their precious time. Things like attracting early volunteers. Again, most people, if they're giving time, they want to be compensated for it. So in the early big days, you might find that a bit difficult. But what I have found is that if you just keep at it, it's gonna be rough in the beginning, as you basically have to be learning on the job. You, you're trying to figure out a lot of stuff. You're gonna have a lot of people that drop out. So maybe you have some people on your board, and then one day they're like, hey, I can't do this anymore. Or yeah, I'm too busy. Yeah, bye. Or did they just leave and without anything, any saying anything? So it can be disheartening, but you have to just keep pressing on. Once you believe in your mission and what you're trying to do, you just have to keep at it, and the right people will eventually come into the fold to help you get it to where it needs to be. So just don't get discouraged by that. So we've made some accomplishments, since we've begun this whole thing. So we've successfully launched 2 projects. I know that may seem like a small number, but trust me, it is not easy to coordinate projects for a nonprofit community when compensation is not involved, especially when you're dealing with people that are working. Not easy. Um, we definitely raised membership levels. It definitely got a very big uptick since the whole chat GPT and more people knowing about AI. And definitely there's more of an awareness of the association and the fact that we exist. I've been talking at a lot of these functions, and I've made sure to mention the JAIA, and more people have reached out to me, not just people living in Jamaica, but in the diaspora that want to help um, get the country in the right frame for AI innovation. They definitely reached out to see how they can help. We also organized 2 successful hackathons, one of which we organized with the Jamaica Developers Group. And we're also recognized by the government. So as I said, we have an advisory board, and most of those people are actually on the AI task force or have accomplished a lot in the AI space or just accomplished members in society. Um, and again, we have a personal relationship with the minister as well. By minister, I mean Minister Dana Morris Dixon. She's currently the Minister of Education and Information, and she heads the AI task force, Jamaica AI task force. So just a shout out to my board. So I have Dimitri Johnson, the technical lead, of Zoe Duncan, secretary of Jordan Madden, head of research, Daniel Geddes, head of digital operations, and Sikani Morgan. Our treasurer, we also have Patrick Newman, who's our current interim PRO. Advisory board. So as I said, we have a very distinguished advisory board. So we have Nadine Matthews Blair. If you're on LinkedIn, I'm sure you've seen LinkedIn posts from Nadine. She's very active on the platform. Um, she does AI consulting. If you've been a student at the University of the West Indies, I'm sure you've been taught by Professor Gunjan Mansingh. She teaches AI and leads the data science program here at the University of the West Indies. Of course, Professor Daniel Kaur. We have Trevor Forrest. He's on the AI task force, and if there's an AI conference, I'm sure Trevor is there. We have Adrian Dunkley, also the CEO of Star Apple. I think he's also on the task force. Don't quote me on that one. All right, so some of the projects, such research we've worked on. So LawBot, which I'll talk about more today. Um, we've actually worked on some of our members worked on some research paper. Um, so we wanted to see how AI could be used to clean up lewd music in Jamaica. So just imagine a song that maybe has a lot of lewd lyrics. Could AI create like a clean version of that, essentially? whilst doing that project, we realized that the text-to-speech, not text-to-speech, speech-to-text for Jamaican patois, state of the art was not up to scratch, especially for music. The it just was not converting properly. So we said to ourselves, can we improve that? Is there a possibility that we can improve that? So that begun our effort to essentially collect data. So we actually have data labelers. Yes, I have data labelers right now that are helping us to collect some more data for speech to text, which we hope to essentially fine-tune a speech to text model that can hopefully have improved results. And once we do that, whatever project we work on is going to be fully open source. So we'll probably release that model on Hugging Face so developers can use it. One of the big projects we're working on this year is a Jamaican Patois LLM. All right, so we probably have heard of the term LLM, large language models. We want to train an LLM natively in Patois. So that's a big project. It's going to involve a lot of moving parts. If you're interested, please join the JAIA so that you can help out with that. But it's definitely the train is moving, right? So we've met with different professors all over the world to kind of glean their knowledge of how they maybe created their own LLMs for their regions and want to kind of take that knowledge now and do it for our region. Um, so let me talk about the law bot. So we essentially, one of the issues I had personally is knowing our laws, right? I'm sure we've all had discussions with our friends where we're maybe discussing some scenario that involves some Jamaican law. You're asking your friend, and your friend say, "Yeah, man, I think that's how it go, man, in the law." Or our next friend said, "No, man, based on the law, and nobody really knows because you're either getting your information from American law or you're kind of guessing based on maybe something you saw on Suits." So what we did was we created a bot, a WhatsApp bot, chat bot. You literally, instead of asking your friends, you literally ask the bot your questions and it will give you a response that is grounded in actual Jamaican law, right? And it's going to give you a friendly response. I'm sure some of you have probably tried to read the laws on the books. And we know legal jargon is quite complicated. It's complicated for a reason. That's why you pay lawyers so much money. But the law but puts it in a friendly format, right? It's a very simple interface. So once you have the number, you literally chat to it. Here's an example on the left where I was asking about so I lost my driver's license the other day actually, and I had no idea what to do. And this was literally telling me how to go about it. Some of this stuff you don't have to do anymore, apparently, like the police report thing, because I actually went to a police station, tell them, hey, I lost my license. But you definitely need to visit the tax administration of Jamaica to get that sorted. So one of the things we wanted is to reduce hallucination, is to make sure the responses were grounded in actual Jamaican law. So using retrieval augmented generation, along with the data that we harvested, so actually harvested the actual laws on the books. That was not as simple as it may sound, because yes, they were in PDFs, but those PDFs were scans of pages, right? So it's not something that you could necessarily use like a library or an API to just get the information from the PDFs. It wasn't formatted that way. So we had to do some work using computer vision and OCR technology, and we actually had to pay some data labelers to extract out some information that we didn't need that would actually cause the bot to make some erroneous responses. But all in all, we had to do a lot of work to get it to work. But it works. Of course, there are some improvements that we are currently working on as well to make the responses more accurate. But all in all, most people that have, told me about their experience with it, they love it and it works. If you guys actually want to chat with the Lawbot right now, if you go to, well, if you want to text the Lawbot right now, the number is, let me find it 1 second. The number is 876-508-1160. So that's 876-508-1160. All right, so from there, we wanted another way to utilize the Lawbot. And we thought, nowadays people don't really text anymore. Everybody is talk, voice. So we created this website. So if you go to bot.jaia.org.jm right now, you can actually talk to the Lawbot. What's really cool about this, it's real-time conversation. So you can literally talk to it like an actual person, and you can interrupt it. So even while it's responding to you, you can be like, hey, I wasn't asking about that. And she'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. And then she'll correct herself and give you the correct response. So we had several people working on this. So there's some additional features that we want to add. So for example, showing you where it got the information from, showing you the transcriptions of the conversation. So this is all on GitHub, by the way. So these projects are on GitHub, which you can contribute to, make an issue, send a pull request. We want to probably put more Jamaican sounding voices. But yeah, you can use it right now. It's very cool. It has actually helped me with several issues. So it may actually help you as well. So in regards to the Patois LLM, that's a big project that we'll be working on this year. As I said, want to train an LLM from scratch natively in Patois, thinking it might be multimodal. But to allow for that, we want to crowdsource some authentic Jamaican data that may not be on the internet. So voice notes, dashcam footage. So a lot of people right now have data that they're not even putting to use. Let's just put it that way. And that data is actually valuable. And we want to pay Jamaicans for that data. We recognize that you should earn from your data. So one of the things we plan to do, a massive data push, is to actually allow people to earn from their data. So all this talk about AI taking jobs and you're worrying that it's going to make you poor or whatever. Yeah, people right now earning from AI. As I said, we employ data labelers. So those people are earning from AI. That's a job that didn't exist before AI. So now you have that as a job. Of course, we want to improve speech to text, but also text to speech. As we've probably heard, a lot of these Jamaican voices don't really sound too Jamaican. It's kind of like when a foreign person comes to Jamaica and trying to speak Jamaican. That's how it sounds. We want it to sound more authentic. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I'll just end right there. So if you want to join the JAIA, just go to jaia.org.jm. There's a big Let's Connect button. We're on WhatsApp, we have a Discord, but we mostly talk on the WhatsApp group. We're on the social media, so Instagram, Twitter, at JAIA_876. We are also on YouTube. So anytime we have meetings or anything like that, if you guys want to donate to the JAIA, we could do bank transfers, so NCB, savings account, so all the information is right there. Feel free to donate. If you do donate, just send your proof of donation to admin@jaia.org.gm, and you can actually get featured as a donor on our website. Yeah, that is it. Thank you for having me. And if you guys have any questions, let me know.
Okay. So, we do have some questions, but I believe so far they have been answered as it relates to to contact to the law bot.
Mhm.
So the WhatsApp number would be 876
Yeah.
and that is in the chat at the moment. And of course, if it is that you want to speak directly to the web application, there's the URL is also in the chat. All right, so let us move on. Right, so you're currently doing an MPhil. Could you would you encourage
Mhm.
fellow developers, fellow persons in the tech field to pursue this?
Mhm. So it depends. So I have a passion generally for research and actually also for teaching. Anything I learn, I want to share with people. And the the process of getting someone to understand something requires understanding on my part, true understanding on my part, and I absolutely love that process. So I would say do it if it is that you have similar motivations. So if you're somebody that genuinely likes to learn, likes to do research and share that knowledge with other people. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And we have another question. What's it like being a tutor at the University of the West Indies?
So I don't want to tutor a lecture as well. It's it there's good and there's I like it. I mean, of course there it comes with its challenges, when you especially when it comes to grading assignments, that can be hell, when you have like 100 students in your class and you have to be marking all those assignments or you have to be evaluating presentations or when students are messaging you like, hey, what is this? Or can you extend the project deadline? And yeah, that has its own mess to it. But all in all, I do enjoy genuinely sharing information to people and getting people to understand stuff. So yeah, in most parts, I like it. Yeah.
Okay. In your entrepreneurial journey, is there
Mhm.
anything you'd want to do differently?
Oh yeah, yeah. For sure. So one advice I'd give people is on the financial side, definitely try to treat yourself and the company as two separate entities. We kind of fall into the, especially people in tech, we fall into the trap of getting too wedded to the business. But at the end of the day, it is a business. And you have to treat it like a business. So it is its own entity. And there is a temptation to just dip into your pocket every minute to kind of help it along. But your aim should be at all always to try to find some way to get the business to be self-sustaining. So it's funding itself. Um, so yeah, I would say that would be if I were to do it again, I would focus more on that. So take the emotion out of it and look at it more rationally or logically and from the financial side of things. Um, Yeah, I'd also just ensure just do things formally from the get-go. So whether that's bookkeeping, all the legal stuff, all the things that you need to apply for, whether it's your TCC or just get on all that stuff from early. Just keep it formal and legal from early so that you don't fall into trouble down the road. Well, in general advice with business, I'd say it's not a smooth road. It has its ups and downs. You just have to, whatever you're doing, just keep at it, and eventually you'll start to see the progress.
Okay. So someone in our chat actually wants to know more about
Hmm.
your project for picking coconuts. Can
Yeah.
you give us a little bit more about that? If it is that I would want to get my drone to be programmed so that it could pick the coconuts for me, I don't have to climb the tree and risk any limbs. um, Go ahead.
So yeah, that's a project we're currently actively working on. Um, so this was a problem I didn't even know existed until about a year or so, year or two ago. Um, so actually, it's when I had contacted the coconut industry board about something totally different. Actually, we built a website for them. But so I knew about the fruit picking problem generally, but I didn't know coconuts had a similar problem. But I interviewed some people from the coconut industry board here in Jamaica, and they were like, yeah, it's a huge problem here. You know, I didn't even know people still had to climb up coconut trees to get coconuts. But yeah, it's still being done, not just in Jamaica, India, all over the place. It's not just a Jamaica problem. Anywhere that does coconut harvesting, it's a challenge because these trees grow really tall, as high as 60 feet. And as you guys can surmise, it's a very dangerous task to climb a coconut tree. Somebody could drop. Um, it's very dangerous. And to no surprise, young people nowadays don't want to get into that. Want to climb a coconut tree in the hot sun. You can do some like go on TikTok or something. So we're facing a major labor crisis in that sector. Right now, for a lot of coconut farms, they're depending on one guy. And we interviewed actual coconut farms that told us this, that if that guy was to get sick or something like that, no coconut's not getting picked. Because it's also a trust-based business because they deal with theft. So sometimes some of the same people picking coconuts are stealing coconuts from the people they're picking coconuts for. So it's a small circle and there's not much people that they can trust. Say if that one guy that they're depending on is supposed to fall sick or something like that, the harvest for that month is gone. So obviously that's an issue. So we think it's an important problem and we began working on trying to solve that. It's not an easy problem. Definitely has its challenges, but we're actually currently working with a company in India right now to speed things along, especially with the manufacturing part of stuff. And also to get into that market, the Indian market, which is very huge for coconuts.
Okay, I have a few questions, but before I start, interestingly, some time ago, someone was picking coconut on my tree. It unslipped, coconut fell on the roof, rolled out from the back of my house to the front of my house and landed in the my car windscreen. And that was costly. So I'm glad that you have something for that. So, if I had that back then, my car windscreen would have been mashed up. So in any case, all right. Couple of questions. Starting from the entrepreneur side. When it comes on to you running non-profit, what are ways you've tried to
Mhm.
generate some form of funding? Because yeah, donation is one thing, but that's relying on people giving from the goodness of their art. But have you reached out? Yeah, I know you said the coconut industry. I don't remember what that place called, but is there anything else you've tried to like do projects for example the forestry I don't remember what it called, but they had reached out to us at one point where they wanted to find a way to use AI to detect certain areas to find out when they should do harvesting, what type of pesticide, what type of treatment it should use based on image recognition and what's, on the plant. Have you explored like opportunities like those, not just for the coconut stuff?
Yeah, so a lot of these things we're formalizing this year. But some of the strategies we plan to undertake with regard to funding. So AI consultations, one of them. So for example, if you're a business and you have a problem, you can actually come to the JAIA at a small cost, probably smaller than any other organization that you private organization that you'd go to. And we can essentially help you out with that, whichever issue that you have. We have other fundraising strategies, around, selling merchandise. But I think the main thing is we're trying to see how we can formalize the AI consultation. So several businesses have approached us with regards to that. Um, so we're in some talks right now in terms of how we can possibly help their business. And hopefully we can sort of, have a consistent funding stream from that.
Okay, that's good. Because again, many companies that came to my company as well. And capacity is always an issue now and then. So, it's good that you have that in like the works, because it means that there's form of collaboration. You can just pass it on to your community to get, these projects done to improve the whole ecosystem and technology structure of the country, especially using AI. In terms of the one of the projects you mentioned, um, well, before I even get to that, you're planning to do any other like harvesting drones like mango drone, picking drone, and so forth.
Yeah, so it's not gonna stop at coconuts. Obviously we're starting there, but the aim was to has always been for it to branch off into other fruit picking problems. So yeah, whether it's mangoes or oranges or something in an orchard, that is the aim.
Okay, and when it come on to the other project now, the Jamaican patois, what type of data source you said you use for that?
So right now, the data source we've been using is so we've been using audio clips from different like music, like dance or reggae songs. And essentially, what the data labelers have been doing is essentially to match the part of the lyrics that maps to that clip, that 30-second clip of the audio. But plan to expand that data set not just music, but like whether it's text messages or voice notes, anything Jamaican that we can get our hands on.
Oh, okay.
Really essential.
And noted on that, one of the reasons why I asked is that I've been, which is no, not secretively. I've been somewhat secretively working on like a AI tool to try to formalize like a official dictionary for Jamaica using again AI to you know look on social media, understanding what people are saying, um patterns in conversation, and typical normal words that they tend to use. So to get an official word, then variation of it and what it means based on context. It pretty much understand all of that and then do a trans like a one. well, bidirectional translation from English to patois. So I definitely see where there is like room that you could also brand off in that space. As you know, a lot of different countries do find patois very intriguing.
Yeah.
So that's something that I really like that you're doing, and of course, whatever I can do to support, I'm here.
All right. That sounds good.
Okay, so we have a very intriguing question. So we all know about deep fake, and we have all those AIs that try to trick us into clicking on those links or giving up our bank account information. So tell us, how do we know that you are really Matthew Stone?
You can't. To be honest, it's a very interesting question, and it's something I've kind of battled with. But we are heading into that age of not knowing the difference between real and fake. Um, it might be a bit apparent now because the tools aren't really necessarily up to scratch. Maybe because you can see with the hands, and sometimes there's three hands instead of two, or there's always something that gives it away. But trust me, it's gonna get to a point where you won't know the difference. Literally, it's gonna be one to one. If you've ever watched the movie The Matrix, it's literally that's what we're heading towards. Especially when you pair these things with neurotechnology or virtual reality. It's gonna get to the point where you have virtual simulations that you literally feel like you're there in whichever world. It's gonna look real one to one. It's we are heading into a society where we can't tell the difference between real or fake. It's something I raised about our upcoming election, possible danger that it may be used by certain actors to try to influence the election. So I just kind of wanted to raise that as a possible warning to the political parties that, hey, these are the tools exist and it's open to everybody and it could be used to possibly influence an election. It has been in other countries, so it could be used here to do the same.
Okay, so if we give you one of those challenges where we say select the stoplight from the picture, you'll be able to pass it, right?
Hopefully.
Okay, all right. So the if it is that, let's say someone has their orchard or their coconuts, and they're thinking, well, I can't get anyone to pick it, they'll just reach out to your company to book an appointment for the drone to come and work some magic.
But yeah, you can always reach out to info@stonetechjm.com. So that's my company email. And yeah, if there's a particular issue that we think our technology could be used on for your particular problem, then yeah, they can reach out to us and we can have a conversation about it.
All right, so some persons may not have gotten that just now, so we're going to say it one more time.
Info@stonetech. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, you'll put it in the chat. Okay, great. All right. So you're right. So guys, for all those persons who have the coconut on the tree till it start get brown, you can get Matthew Stone to use his technology, and you can see it live in action, because of course the drone would be able to use machine vision to recognize that this is a coconut and not a bird in the tree building a nest, and then do the appropriate maneuvering to pick the fruit. Right, so definitely seeing where the machine is using images live from the environment and trying to understand what this image is, and then of course if the machine makes an error from its general operation, it's going to learn from it and adjust accordingly, which is one of the beauties of artificial intelligence. So we definitely want to to see the products being used in a positive way. All right. Now, we have another person asking, how can I get paid from my data? This is something that is going to be future. It's not necessarily no. Is that correct?
Yeah, so in the coming months, we're gonna be announcing that. So just follow us on our socials. But yeah, we're gonna be announcing the payment structure. But it's definitely something that we plan to do within the coming months.
Okay. All right. Are there any plans to rival OpenAI?
Our goal is not necessarily to rival OpenAI, because to be honest, I am not really a big fan of how OpenAI operates. We kind of want to do things differently. They started out as OpenAI, but they're not so open. And they have a lot of unethical practices. So we want to do things differently. But what we do want is to have Jamaica have a foothold in the AI space. So we're not just observers, but we are actually making actual innovations. We have our names up there in some way, whether it's at conferences or maybe even competing on some of these big leaderboards or benchmarks. It's going to require a lot of effort and funding to get there, but with scarcity comes in innovation, as we saw with the whole DeepSeek thing. So I think the same thing could happen here in Jamaica.
Okay. All right. So, thank you very much for that. All right. So should someone want to reach out to you, it's the same email address they would use to book a coconut kind of excursion. Is the same email address they
Yeah,
should.
yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So we're gonna skip over that question about Elon Musk. Any other questions on our YouTube side, guys? Are you seeing any question from our YouTube side? All right.
For that question, I'd say, yeah, I agree.
We're not going to get ourselves in trouble, you know. Oh, all right. Okay. Best way to have to know. Okay. I think we've got that one. All right, great. So we don't have any more questions from YouTube, and I don't see any hands up in the stream.
Um,
So
Let me give two questions. One, of course, this is not necessary for me, but people who are coming up in tech or have interest in AI, what roadmap would you suggest them to take to, break in the industry, level up, and get a full understanding of, the roadmap to success in a career in AI?
Mm.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah, this question is interesting because a year ago, there was a roadmap. Um, this year, the roadmap has changed. I'd say, back in the day, a roadmap would involve, learning the basic theory in terms of the basic math and, learning the basics of machine learning, the different technologies and all of that stuff. But to be honest, nowadays, with all the AI tools that exist, to be honest, nowadays I'd say the focus should probably be more on that front in terms of um, understanding the technology that exists and how you can use it. That's the easiest way right now to break into the AI space, just understanding the technology that exists and using it. So back in the day, a lot of the APIs that exist now did not exist. You'd have to basically do a whole lot of work trying to even get a simple speech to text or a little chatbot working. Nowadays, you can just use that OpenAI API and boom, you have a chatbot. So I'd say the best way to break into the space now is just to um, be aware of the tools that exist. So whether that's your APIs or whether that's things like the chat GPT or the image generators, be good at using those tools to accomplish daily tasks. Um, in terms of following the space, to be honest, nowadays you have innovations coming out right, left, and center. There are a lot of YouTube creators that are following the space. I don't know them off the top of my head, but there are a lot of them. Also on Twitter. So I'd say follow anybody on YouTube that does AI machine learning just to understand what's the new thing that's coming out. Follow the AI creators on Twitter. But once you get into it, you'll start to know who are the right people to follow. The
Um,
algorithm will help.
any recommended books or courses one should take?
This again, it's a it's an interesting question because the courses I tell you to take 2 years ago, probably you wouldn't want to take them now because
Point taken.
they're irrelevant. But if you truly want to get into like understanding how this technology works, um, so there's a how I got into it, like to truly understand this stuff. So there's a machine learning course taught by Andrew Ong. So it's Andrew NG, that's his last name. So I think it's on Coursera. And I think some of the lectures are on YouTube. So he gives a good foundational knowledge. So Coursera has a lot of those courses, to get a good foundational knowledge of machine learning and deep learning. Um, you have people like Andre Karpathy on YouTube. Sometimes they do some go-through videos of some of the technology. Um, you have Three Blue, One Brown. I think that's the name of the channel. They have some nice you have 2 Minute Papers. That's another YouTube channel. That's good. Um, yeah, that's
All
it.
right. So my last question, and of course, I'm going to ask Jason to piggyback off this question,
Mhm.
is one, we recently hosted like an open mic session, which is a general discussion, and the topic for that was vibe coding. Is
Right.
it going yes, is it going to ruin the development space? Because people would just AI tool, it's a gospel, and just not fact checking or reviewing their work. What's your thought on, vibe coding in development?
I think vibe coding is good for the people that would use vibe coding. I think like if you're a senior developer, you probably wouldn't be depending on those tools anyway,
True.
but I wouldn't be seeing those tools as a bad thing. Because what it is doing is it's opening up the space for more people to kind of take whatever ideas they have in their head. And even if it comes out to be a buggy solution and it has all the words coding practices, just having that like demo, that visual demo of what they were thinking, that I think that's a very powerful thing. Especially for like non-technical people. Like, let's say you're an entrepreneur and you're doing a pitch and you want to maybe create like a quick demo of just to show the investors what you're thinking. Um, having the power to do that nowadays, it's extraordinary. Um, do I have any worry as to like would these coding tools make worse developers? Um, Not really. I think how development is done is gonna change, to be honest. Um, I think you will have as these tools get better, especially at coding, which I think, to be honest, I think that is the out of all the things that need to be accomplished, I think that's one of the easier things. I think you're gonna have more reliance, and you're seeing this already when coders are coding nowadays. They're using Copilot and the code suggestions and chat GPT. So it's happening already. You're gonna have more reliance on these tools, especially if they get better. So I don't think it's necessarily that it's making us dumb. It's just changing how we kind of look at things. Because if at the end of the day we're getting more done, I don't see the issue there.
Okay. One of the follow-up question in that event was that um if we become so reliant on vibe
Mhm.
coding, what will happen when there's a bug in the code and we don't know how to solve it?
Okay. So, I mean, my answer to that is, again, as these tools get better, you'll probably have somebody, AI agent coding for you. And you have an AI agent QA that is looking for the bugs and helping you find the bugs and probably giving you suggestions of how to solve the bugs. The point is, I think for whatever problem there exists, you're probably gonna have some sort of tool. Do I think people or coders still need to learn the basics and of problem solving and stuff like that? Sure. But just think, just like how you have a calculator, which allows us not to actually have to do long division, even though you guys learned it in the second grade. Nobody actually does it in the real world. Um, Coding is gonna change the same way. Um, these tools are like calculators for code, basically. And it's just gonna get better and better. So a lot of these things that you say, oh, well, what if it doesn't find a bug or the yes, it's a problem. No, but I think 5 years down the line, honestly, it's gonna get so good where that doesn't even become much of an issue.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. That's all the questions I have. And I agree with your points. Um, One of the main point I had in that session was similar to software development, which is an iterative process, regardless of what code is produced, always review, iterate, and improve. So yeah, that's generally it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm great. I'm unmuted. I happen I couldn't see the unmute button. Right. So there are a couple upcoming events that we definitely want to bring your attention to. And I know that there is still a lot more that we could discuss with Matthew around AI and around his journey and around, probably even if it is that you want to work on some of the tools that he has done, because he said that he's going to make some of the projects open source, etc. But of course, we want to encourage you to utilize the technology and email him. He has placed the email in his chat, in the chat, sorry. And definitely want to encourage you guys to look out for follow him on social media to see what's happening in his sphere, as we continue to move towards more efficiency in the use of these technological tools. So yes, one of the things that and that Matthew would have mentioned was around persons getting involved in the different communities, to one develop their skills and to become more familiar with the tools. So someone who is interested in machine learning, it would be great opportunity to be a part of his community, etc. To work on some of the projects, etc. And of course, what we've done is formalize one of this activity, which is our mentorship program. So for this year, we're going to be doing it a little bit more streamlined, where it is that we're going to ask that persons submit their resume, so that for one, it would help the prospective mentors, some of which would be community members from various organizations such as Jamaican Developers Association, and some other organizations that I don't believe we're okay to mention them just now, because want to keep the suspense, etc. And they're still working out in terms of their agreements with us as it relates to how many persons, etc. So I can't unfortunately reveal those names just yet. But should you guys be interested in the mentorship program, the idea is that it's going to be about 6 months. And you're going to encourage persons to work on some project, be mentored by veterans, entrepreneurs, senior developers, QAs, animation specialists, various persons within the industry. So whichever field that you may have an interest in, or perhaps you've just wanted to explore it a little more, or maybe you just want to have a project in that area, feel free to indicate it on, of course, in your resume, as we look forward to that. But the deadline for that is far in the future, more or less. It's going to be June 1st. That's going to be your deadline for that event. But for our more closer event, this is going to be our Senior Dev Connect. If it is that you have not registered yet, I encourage you, register now. Register now. I know the deadline is set for May 1st, but of course, refreshments will be available, and it helps the organizing party to be able to better accommodate those persons who are going to be a part of the event. So they want to understand and appreciate the numbers, and of course, get a better appreciation of the audience. So feel free to register for that event, right? It's a Senior Dev Connect, and the venue is going to be UTech, Kingston, Jamaica. And of course, you have the QR code and the link to the register for that event in this flyer here. So that is May 1st, right? And we're definitely looking forward to a great event, because what this is a partnership with Grid Dynamics, and we're just looking for phenomenal things from them, because they've worked with various persons in the industry to create great solutions. And who doesn't want to work with them? I mean, they're so wonderful. They're international. They're just mind blowing in terms of the different solutions that they've created. So yes, feel free to be a part of that event. All right. And of course, our next event that upcoming event is gonna be our event with Glenn Henry, right? Now he is the founder and projects director at Sprite Wrench Studios, right? So he's into game development. He's done phenomenal work in the tech industry, and we're definitely looking forward for that event as well. So if it is that you have not yet registered for that event, that's on Meetup. Register, mark it on your calendars, because of course we're looking forward to a very interesting session with Glenn. All right. And if it is that you want to participate in our future demos, where it is that we're going to be showing some development, some coding, some workshop, anything at all, or it is that you want to communicate with us to find out some more about some of our events, etc., feel free to email us at community@caribbean.dev. So the email is on your screen. Feel free to email us, because we definitely want to hear from you, and we definitely want to, of course, as we said before, encourage sharing of the knowledge, encourage the marketing of skills, etc. All right. Now, of course,
Before you end, Alvin, I have a question for Matthew. Given that you're pro vibe coding, Matthew, would you allow somebody who's strictly a vibe coder to contribute to one of your AI projects?
I want to be careful about that pro label. I'm not necessarily pro or against vibe coding. I do see its use in terms of just having coding accessible to more people. But in all seriousness, at the moment, for professional projects, coding isn't just vibes. There's a lot more that goes into it. And of course, you have to be mindful of that. Um, I was more just saying, I think as time goes on, the tools will improve in such a way that it won't seem so much as like vibes coding. Like there won't be too much difference between vibes coding and professional software engineering, essentially.
That came up in our debate about coding with vibes, and my counter to that back in the debate was this example of this guy on Twitter. He was making a couple million every month from his AI vibe coding project. So what do you say to him?
Oh, the guy, what would I say to him?
Yeah.
I mean, good for him. Um, yeah, I mean, hey, if you can make money using vibes coding, by all means, no hate to that. Yeah, of course, you're gonna have people that find some way to make money from using these tools. That's not a bad thing. Yes, they may not be, following the standard or traditional software development process and doing everything the right way or the proper way. But I mean, let's be honest, if it's allowing more people to gain economically, I don't see the issue there. I think, to be honest, if you're a professional software engineer, then you understand the capabilities of these tools at the moment and understand that vibes coding isn't necessarily something that would probably get into a production system. But does it have its uses? Yes, like for quick demos or for quick prototyping, of course.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jason and Matthew. All right.
Hold on, Alvin.
Okay.
Machine, were you about to say something?
No,
No, it's fine. I'll keep this one. It's my answer to that question. I was going to repeat, and let me just say, Puss and Dog don't have the same luck again. But let's move on.
All right,
Cool.
you can close off.
All right. So I see some persons are defending it. I don't know why Jason keep pushing it. I hope you can actually code something, Jason, even a hello world. You don't just vibe it. All right. So yes, do at least ensure that you have the basics. All right. Um. So yes, do feel free to, if it is that you're not yet in our meetup group, be a part of our meetup group. If it is that you do know someone who's interested in being a part of the community, feel free to share this information with them. Of course, we've passed this membership number a long time ago, and we definitely want to thank each and every one of you guys for your support, and thank you for coming out. And we do know that it's now exam period, and some of you guys are preparing for exams, and we wish you all the best on your exams. And do your best, ensure that you actually did some work and not just vibe it out, because of course that's what the exam is going to be testing, your ability to show that you've mastered the computer science or math or whatever it is that you're studying at the moment. So yes. A big thank you to our speaker or presenter, Matthew Stone. Enough respect. Yes, we did a hackathon with you, and we're looking forward to continue to work together and supporting you and you supporting us as we continue to grow. And I want to of course thank all our participants, those who posted their questions, those who were too shy and didn't want to speak directly to Matthew, but it's okay. We appreciate you nonetheless. And if it is that you still have more questions, but you didn't send it to me or to any other admins, you can always reach out to him in via email. All right. So have a great evening, everyone, and I look forward to you guys being a part of our next event. So look out for our physical event coming up. Register, because as we said before, we want to be able to accommodate all those who are registered, want to be able to plan the event properly. So if it is that you've not registered, we may not be able to accommodate you as easily as we want to. So have a great evening, everyone. Bye.